Business Research Methods. Chapter 1. Introduction to Business Research. Part 2. BCOM BBA BCU. Research Process Overview. Step 1. Identification of the problem. Clearly define and understand the research issue. Step 2. Review of literature. Study existing research to understand gaps and past findings. Step 3. Formulation of hypothesis. Develop testable statements or open research questions. Step 4. Research design. Plan methodology, sampling, and data collection approach. Step 5. Data collection. Gather data through surveys, interviews, or observations. Step 6. Data analysis and interpretation. Analyze data and draw meaningful conclusions. Step 7. Conclusion and reporting. Summarize findings and present in structured format. Step 8. Follow-up. Suggest further research based on findings when needed. Step 1. Identification of the problem. Clarity and specificity. Problem must be clearly defined to determine proper objectives and scope. Relevance and significance. Problem should address real-world challenges faced by organizations. Feasibility. Problem should be researchable within the available time, resources, and expertise. Novelty. Problem should fill gaps in existing knowledge that are limited or outdated. Operational definition. Key terms, variables, and scope must be clearly defined to avoid ambiguity. Steps to identify a research problem. Observe trends, challenges, and gaps in the chosen field of study. Review relevant literature to understand what has already been researched. Consult experts, stakeholders, or practitioners to find practical issues. Narrow down broad ideas to specific and manageable research questions. Step 2. Review of literature. Systematic study and evaluation of existing research, publications, and reports on the topic. Helps understand what has already been studied and identifies gaps in knowledge. Sources include primary, original research, secondary, books, reviews, and tertiary, databases. Process involves searching, organizing, analyzing, synthesizing, and reporting findings. Helps refine research questions, objectives, and hypotheses for the study. Ensures the study is grounded in existing knowledge and avoids duplication of work. Step 3. Formulation of hypothesis. A hypothesis is a tentative, testable statement about the relationship between two or more variables. Clear and specific. Clearly defines the expected relationship between the study variables. Testable. Can be empirically verified using data and statistical methods. Relevant. Directly addresses the research problem being investigated. Simple and precise. Avoids ambiguity and unnecessary complexity in its statement. Predictive. Suggests a possible outcome or relationship based on existing knowledge. Research questions and their importance. Used in qualitative or exploratory studies instead of hypotheses to guide the research. These are open-ended questions focused on understanding phenomena, behaviors, or experiences. They help narrow the research focus to specific and researchable areas of inquiry. They guide the choice of research design and methodology appropriate for the study. They ensure systematic data collection and analysis throughout the research process. They provide a clear basis for drawing conclusions and addressing the research problem. Step 4. Research design. Research design is a blueprint that guides the researcher in conducting the study systematically. Purpose-oriented, aligns with the objectives of the study, and addresses the research problem. Systematic, provides a structured approach for data collection and analysis. Flexible, can accommodate changes if unforeseen issues arise during the research. Economical, helps in optimal utilization of time, effort, and available resources. Valid and reliable, ensures that findings are accurate and can be replicated. Types of research design. 1. Exploratory research design. Used to explore new areas where little information exists, uses interviews and focus groups. 2. Descriptive research design. Aims to describe characteristics, behaviors, or trends using surveys and case studies. 3. Causal or experimental research design. Examines cause and effect by manipulating one variable to observe its impact on another. 4. Analytical or diagnostic research design. focuses on understanding and explaining phenomena by analyzing existing data and patterns. Step 5. Data collection. Process of gathering information relevant to the research problem or objectives systematically. Primary data, original data collected directly from the source through surveys and interviews. Secondary data, data from existing sources like books, journals, and government publications. Provides accurate and relevant information for testing hypotheses and answering research questions. Reduces bias and ensures reliability, forming the foundation for drawing valid conclusions. Quality and reliability of research findings depend directly on the data collected. Methods of data collection. A. Surveys/questionnaires, structured tools to collect information from large groups of respondents. B. Interviews, direct interaction with individuals to gather in-depth qualitative information. C. Observation, recording behaviors or events as they occur naturally in real-life settings. D. Experiments, collecting data by manipulating variables to observe their effect on outcomes. E. Document analysis, reviewing existing records, reports, or publications for relevant information. Step 6. Data analysis. Data analysis applies statistical or logical techniques to understand and evaluate collected data. Organizing data, classifying and arranging data systematically in tables, charts, or graphs. Summarizing data, using measures like mean, median, mode, percentages, or frequencies. Testing relationships, applying statistical tests to identify patterns and cause-effect relationships. Comparing data, evaluating differences or trends among groups, time periods, or variables. Data interpretation and its importance. Data interpretation is the process of making sense of analyzed data in context of research objectives. Researchers explain meaning of results and determine if findings support or refute hypotheses. Converts raw data into actionable insights for informed and evidence-based decision-making. Validates or rejects hypotheses based on the patterns and trends identified in the data. Identifies trends and relationships to guide future research or organizational strategies. Step 7. Conclusion and reporting. A good conclusion clearly answers whether the research problem has been addressed. It confirms or refutes hypotheses and highlights practical and theoretical insights from the study. It identifies limitations, biases, and constraints that may affect the results. It suggests areas that need further exploration or future research. Reporting involves presenting findings through research reports, journal articles, or presentations. Effective reporting enhances transparency, credibility, and replicability of the research. Approaches to research overview. I. Quantitative approach, systematic collection and analysis of numerical data to test hypotheses. 2. Qualitative approach, in-depth study of non-numerical data, behavior, and human experience. 3. Pragmatic approach, uses both quantitative and qualitative methods as the problem demands. 4. Advocacy/participatory, involves participants as co-researchers aiming for social change. Quantitative approach, focuses on collecting and converting data into numerical form for statistical calculations. Uses structured research instruments such as questionnaires, surveys, and tests. Variables are clearly defined, measured, and controlled throughout the study. Emphasizes objectivity, precision, and accuracy in research. Involves large sample sizes to ensure reliability and generalization of results. Data is analyzed using statistical techniques like regression, correlation, and hypothesis testing. Qualitative approach, focuses on non-numerical data such as words, ideas, experiences, and meanings. Aims to understand human behavior, attitudes, and perceptions in depth. Uses flexible and unstructured or semi-structured research tools for data collection. Common methods include interviews, focus groups, observations, and case studies. Involves small sample sizes selected purposefully for deeper and richer insights. Data is analyzed through thematic, content, or narrative analysis techniques. Pragmatic approach, focuses on practical solutions and real-world problems rather than philosophical debates. Uses both quantitative and qualitative methods as required by the research problem. Emphasizes what works best rather than following a single rigid research philosophy. Allows methodological flexibility. Research questions determine the choice of methods. Accepts multiple realities and perspectives, encouraging mixed methods research. Results are oriented toward action and decision-making in practical contexts. Advocacy/participatory approach. Emphasizes active involvement of participants in every stage of the research process. Treats participants as co-researchers rather than just subjects of the study. Focuses on empowerment and collaboration between the researcher and participants. Research is conducted in real-life community settings for contextual relevance. Knowledge is co-created through continuous interaction with the participants. Aims at social change and solving community problems through research findings. Thanks for watching. Watch part 3 to continue. Like, share, subscribe. Riaz Notes.